Good evening, people. Okay, we should be live on Facebook and YouPorn, as in PWN, and most importantly, DLive. Yeah, DLive, which we're going to be talking about in a bit. And so, great. Yeah, let's have a good show. We've got Stephen Lang popping on, and going to be talking to old Stephen about, I don't know, Life's Rich Tapestry, and having a bit of fun, I dare say, as well, because old Stephen's a bit of a laugh, so we're gonna have a bit of a laugh, and yeah, okay, cool, should be pretty good. So yeah, all right, that's Nearly Chaos coming up in about, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, something like that. Shouldn't be quite as chaotic today, thank goodness, because beginning to wrap my head around, I don't know how to do this, except that there are going to be a few changes. Only going to be on Facebook, excuse me, oh, that's better. Only going to be on Facebook and YouTube for half an hour, not for the whole show today, which is a bribe. It's a bribe. If you want to watch the whole show, you got to go to DLive. DLive, yeah. So look, here you go. That is the deal there. You can see it on all of those 3 streaming platforms. Where you need to go, guv.li, chaos, and it is right there. It should be right there. I hope it's right there. If it isn't, I guess we'll find out. Yeah. So anyway, hold on a sec. I need to find the bloody music. See if I can find some music, just to fill in, you know. Oh, this will do. All right, this will do. We'll have a listen there. Ariel's olive oil. Yeah, lovely. Just gonna play. You gonna play? Oh, blimey. Oh, here you go. Nice. Oh yeah. Here we go. Funky stuff. Well, hey, getting in the groove. Da da da. Da da da. Rise of mine. Jingly jangly, jewelry. Don't mention the royal family. Should just have a little sentence. Oops, blimey. Oh! Blow the bloody doors off. Now I do apologise. And if you tolerate this, then your children will be probably. Let's face it. The point, didn't they, eh? Blimey. Better get on the bloody case then. You're on the air. You're on the show. So William, would you... So William, I'm having to do a show, sir. I'm going to have to cut you off, but I will talk to you a bit later. Is that all right?
That is fine.
God bless you.
Very much. Good luck.
Did you enjoy last night? Blimey, that was his lordship. Right, okay, hold on a sec. Let me try and get my guest in, for crying out loud. Right, here we go. Stephen Lang. I thought that was Stephen calling. Do 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 be do 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 do. Jewelry. Lang.
Yes.
Oh, blimey, for crying out loud. There was a lordship bloody masquerading as you there, mate. I'll tell you what, you got to watch out. Hold on a sec. Hold on, we'll be there in just a minute. Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, hold on, 2 minutes, folks. Completely threw me. 2 minutes, people. I'll tell you what, you just can't get the aristocracy here. You just can't get the bloody aristocracy these days. The world country's going down the bloody pan. Oh, they're crying out loud. Do-do-do. Good evening, people. We'll be there in a sec. Oh. They always call me out, you know. Oh, Ollie, would you do this? Would you do that, Ollie? Oh, yeah. Look, for crying out loud, I'm trying to do a bloody show, mate. 2 minutes, people. Gotta open the bloody news tab. If I press that, is it gonna blow up the bloody machine? Don't mention Jimmy Savile, especially not in the same sentence as Prince Bloody Philip.
What are you on?
I don't know. Life, mate. Life. Life's rich tapestry. Bless you.
Yeah.
Come on, Jesus I've got 32 gigs with a RAM in this machine. It's like it's a bloody old Commodore 64. He's a bloody crap. Get on with it, man. What do you think you are, a bloody Tory government? Jesus. I said, most annoying. Oh, that's enough of that. For crying out loud. Let's just get on with a bloody show. Doop-a-doo-doo-doo. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, excuse me. Good evening, good people. Good evening, good people. And welcome to the Daily Chaos. Show ain't daily, but the chaos is. Oops. I can hear feedback. And now, life's rich tapestry. Geezer Dragon, Stephen Lang, pops in to give me a right ticking off, and I lightly deserve it. Plus, we'll cut the breeze and generally take the biscuit. I'll be taking calls on Discord, guv.li /rant. At the bottom of the hour, that's 7:30, cracking out comments and toying with the trolls. Yeah. Ooh. Oops. I better give that baronet a bell later. Right, okay, yeah, please share the show for crying out loud, yeah? Let people know that we're thinking, we're talking, we're watching, we're active! This is the resistance. Yeah, and it's the DLive thing, yeah? Go boycotting fascist bot! Bugger you, Zuckerberg! Yeah, exactly. And you porn too as well, PWN, you've been owned. Yes, getting rid of those, ditching them. And so weaning you off people. So what's going to happen, if you go to guv.li /chaos, then that will take you where you need to go and you'll see there's the live thing there. And you can see on the screen, you should be able to see on the screen there, hopefully you can see on the screen there, the whatnot, you know, fascism, just say no. Show is on DLive only from 7:30, guv.li /chaos. And so there you go. Good evening, Stephen. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Ollie. How are you, mate?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what.
Finally got there then.
I was asleep 20 minutes ago, mate. I had to have a little nap. And I tell you...
It's all this gadgetry, boy. It's all the gadgetry. You know, they don't talk to each other, does it?
I've been getting all these hot flushes last couple of weeks. I thought, blimey, I'm going to write a book about it. If I'm pregnant, I'm going to make a fortune. But that wasn't the case. And I kind of realized that maybe it was about time, at the age of 49 years of age, I turned a few weeks ago, maybe it was about time that I gave up drinking about half a pint of coffee a day, freshly ground and all that as well. And I just can't get away with it anymore. When did you have to quit coffee, that sort of amount of coffee?
Probably never, to be honest. But I'd be awake all night, mate. Wouldn't be no good to me.
I could get away with it, and I love coffee, but I just can't drink it anymore. So anyway, look, I'll tell you what we'll do. As we start the show, looking at what fake stream is spinning. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to bother with Facebook and whatever it is. I'm just going to look at what's going on. Put it on the media panel on the place where people should be watching this show. And the only place you'll be able to watch this show for the second half of the show for the next few days or so, whilst I do the kind of transition finally to go straight over to DLive. And God bless DLive, the governor there, he actually liked this show yesterday. Compare that to Fascist Bot, where Zuckerzitz is jailing people for sharing the show. That is fascism, yeah. That is corporate political collusion, yeah. He's probably colluding directly with GCHQ. I'll tell you, that guy. Anyway, as Farage said to him when he went and had a chat with that lot in there, that TTIP wannabe lot. Anyway, never mind that. Okay, so what's the papers on about? Son, you only live twice, some Russian thing. I'll tell you what, it really shows up Ukraine, doesn't it? Really show. What do you think about that, Stephen? What do you think happened there? Or have you got a little more clue than anybody else, including the Ukrainian government, probably?
What one are you talking about? There's been so many. You're on about the one where they faked his death now and got caught doing that. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, a journalist reportedly assassinated by Russian hitmen came back from the dead yesterday.
Yes, he walked in on the place where they were probably giving him his epitaph, weren't they?
I don't know. I mean, so many people think that it was the Russians that was all into what happened in Ukraine, and but I mean, at the time, it seemed to me, the kind of reports I was getting, not least of all from Ukrainians, by the way, and I interviewed a couple of Ukrainians at the time on the show that I was doing at the time on Revolution Radio, Jingly Jangly. And that was a satire on Jimmy Savile, that title, by the way. They were saying, a lot of folks were saying that it was actually the US in cahoots with the EU that kicked off that coup in Kiev by shooting bullets from snipers into the crowd in Kiev. I don't know what you think about that, Stephen, and what's happened in Ukraine. What do you reckon, mate? It's all a bit of a joke, isn't it?
To be honest, mate, I've got to be honest with you. I don't study that too much. I've been looking more at what's going on with Erdogan, actually, over in Turkey. You've been keeping an eye on that one?
Oh, he's a dodgy geezer, isn't he? I tell you. Why can we possibly court that bloke for the Europe? I mean, what is that is that not? How much of a remoron are you if you think that you want to get in a bed with Turkey?
Well,
really, Stephen,
he's
tell me.
looking to do the final caliphate, isn't he? He wants to get caliphate. He wants to push that through. I think he wants Turkey to be a complete Islamic state, I believe.
Unbelievable. I mean,
and he'll probably do it as well.
It's disgusting, isn't it? Everything he's been doing more and more, like a boa constrictor, wrapping his, body around the poor Turkish people, by and large. But I mean, I don't know. There's obviously a lot of nuts there as well. But anyway, stop this Brexit border madness is the Sexpress. Senior Tory MP Jacob Rees-Mogg last night demanded the EU cease its efforts to frustrate Brexit and resolve the Northern Ireland. Aren't you bored of that, Stephen? Bored of that? Do you care about the Northern Irish border? I mean, it wasn't an issue, was it? It's not an issue for us, is it? It's only if they want to make it.
Well, it never was an issue, was it? I mean, it was never brought up all that time ago. All of a sudden, it becomes an issue, and now something's got to be sorted out about it. I mean, listen, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see any other way out of other than having a border, to be honest with you. And I think there still will be after all of this. One way or another, they will do it, providing, of course, we do get what we've been promised, which I somewhat doubt, mate. The longer it goes on, it's just going to get worse, isn't it? They'll probably, keep sticking D notices on everything, and then nobody will know anything, will they?
Yeah, that's right. They like that, don't they? They like their D notices. Yeah.
Oh, they love it, mate. They love a D notice.
Oh, blimey.
Are you going to continue with this TV license thing, by the way?
Yeah. Oh, damn right, mate. I think so.
You are.
We've got to stop paying for propaganda. I wrote this piece here. Well, I've written a piece. It's a chapter in my book, Dear God, I Have a Query. And it's don't pay for propaganda. And we have to cut the tongue out of the snake. We got to cut the voice box from this plutocracy. And if we can do that, I don't know, what do you reckon? I mean, it seems to me that this is a good time to be talking about that. I don't think it would take too much for people to realise, post-Savile and post all the bias as far as the Brexit thing's concerned. What do you reckon, Steve?
Well, in my opinion, it's a good time to do anything. And you've got to grab the moment. The moment is now. I've spoken about this to other people before. My opinion on what's happened with Tommy Robinson, it might be different to other people, might be a bit controversial, it might upset some people. But
I hope it does.
It's obvious to me that, they've stuck him in Nick because for simple reason he had an outstanding charge hanging over his head. I just feel sorry for the boy because at the end of the day, he's now become political. They've made it a political thing, and it's going to, a good barrister team, Ollie, I think will get him out. To be honest with you, because I think there's mitigation. The other side of it is.
Tell us about that. Go on. Come back. We'll come back to that.
I think the other side of it is it's a catalyst. We've been waiting for something to happen, have we not?
Yeah.
They might have trodden on the toes of the people in this country once too often. Now, the only thing I can honestly believe, and that is this time is right, and I think everybody has got to grab onto something. Because if we hit them, and hit them with lots of different things, not just a TV licence, but look, in my opinion is this, right? Tommy Robinson once said when he was with the EDL that the street movement was finished. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
With regards to the EDL, possibly it was, because it wasn't being taken seriously. Since then, Tommy has come of age in many, many ways, but I still think he's badly advised. And if he wasn't so badly advised, he wouldn't have been there in the first place. Because for simple reason, all he did was he played into their hands. And if he was better advised, he wouldn't be inside now doing prison time. It's as simple as that. And people need to remember that. And I think Tommy Robinson needs to remember that. Because now, in saying that, Ollie, I will honestly turn around and say it has sparked a movement. But you know as well as I do, mate, you've been around long enough to know that just a street protest is not going to do anything, no more than all of these petitions do anything, because they ignore us. They treat us like the slaves that we all are. Like
plebs.
That's the way they see us, mate. It's as simple as that. And the only way that you can get action out of this government is by doing exactly what that protest did the other day. Now, I'm not talking about pulling the gates of number 10 down, because at the end of the day, if them gates had come down, you might have got a bullet between your eyes, because I wouldn't trust any of them not to open fire. Secondly, what it did more than anything is it cost the country quite a few quid, because it shut that road down.
Yeah.
You won't get anything to happen in this country, in my opinion, until we do something similar and we close London down. It doesn't take a lot. You've only got to close off one main bridge and you've caused complete chaos in London.
Actually, your partner in crime, Dave Witcher, he was in here the other day, and he was talking about, don't pay your council tax sort of stuff. And I said, well, you know what? I mean, why complicate it? Why? And I'd like your opinion on this. In fact, I know you're going to be talking to Dave later as well, so maybe you can ask him about this as well. I don't see that it is sensible for people to get into a situation where very, very few people are going to stop paying their council tax, and then a few people are going to end up with CCJs. Bless them.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it? The problem is it's got to be made clear to people. Look, there is a thing in this country right now where it's actually illegal to pay council tax, believe it or not. But nobody knows enough about it, Ollie. People need to be made clear of these things. They need to be given answers. And I've got to say, Nathan Kirkton has come up with some terrific answers with regards to a common law card. I'm not going to go into it on your show, but check out his live feed. That's all I can say.
All right.
It makes one hell of a difference. Yep. Look, there are several things.
Could we not, though? Why don't we, instead of for example, stop paying things and maybe criminalising ourselves? We would maybe still be criminalising ourselves, but in a different kind of a way. Why don't we just, all of us, get on the M25 and slam on the brakes and bring London to a standstill? I mean, why do we do that?
The French do it quite well, Ollie. They close the country down.
God bless them.
and they close down the main roads and the junctions, and the government say, well, what is it you want? And they make their demands, and I think, to my belief, they get what they want, because you can the only way to hurt a country such as this, you've got to hurt them in the pocket. And it's the only way to do it. And a street movement, to me, is certainly not dead. But what it needs is masses. And I'm talking about a hell of a lot. Because if you've got more people on the street than you've actually got police forces out there, it's a win-win. You're not going to lose.
Okay. Now, when we spoke yesterday, you brought up a very, very interesting point about Tommy Robinson. So getting aside from all of the, which hopefully people know the facts now. I mean, I think the best place to get the facts, for example, is at Rebel Media's website, where Tommy used to work. And there's a great video there. I don't know the name of the chap, but one of those guys there, he's put together a great video explaining precisely what did happen with Tommy. And bugger the D notice. And he explains all that. Of course, he wasn't affected by the D notice because he's outside of the UK. I got to say, full respect to Rebel Media for wanting to put together that, suing the government basically to overturn the D notice. Full respect. Yeah. But anyway, setting that aside for now, and don't get your information on Tommy from the UK press, because they're spinning it, they're confused, they're lying. You get your information on what happened to Tommy from Rebel Media, I think, is the best place. I mean, everything I've seen, it seems to be, all in all, it seems to be the most accurate and just not biased. I really don't think they are, despite the fact that Tommy used to work for them. I think that they are spot on with that, pretty much. But setting that aside, you came up with a very, very interesting point when we spoke privately yesterday about why a good barrister could actually overturn this imprisonment, this incarceration of this political prisoner.
Well, you could, because at the end of the day, as far as I can have researched it, and the people that I know within the business and law and etc., let's get something straight. We don't have 100% proof of what was said. Okay, it is a bit third hand, but if we're led to believe that the judge, when he got arrested, he got arrested for what was it? It was suspicion of breaching the peace.
Breaching the peace.
Yeah, breaching the peace. Suspicion of breach of the peace. Right.
Yeah.
That was the reason why they lifted him. Now, that was done on the basis, apparently, that the judge watched the live feed, but only a very small part of it. Now, the onus, if you're under suspicion, surely it's down to them to prove that you have done wrong, right?
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, that was the basis to get him into court to say, right, you've now breached your contempt of court, right? So you can't just say, well, let's just have everybody, just imagine anyone on a contempt of court charge then, and they're on a suspended sentence. Okay, that means then that the police can just go and pick you up whenever they like and say, well, look, we suspect you of a breach of the peace or doing whatever, so we're going to stick you straight in, Nick, and make you serve your full sentence for the charge of contempt of court, which you were on a suspended for. Right?
Yeah.
No, you've still got to prove what they lifted him for. Okay, it's the same as when a copper stops you on the road in your car. He has to have a valid reason to stop you. He can stop you, but if it's proven later, then there is no valid reason why he stopped you. And I say proven, right? So if there's no proof, then he has to be let go, because there was no contempt of court. Therefore, he shouldn't be serving the sentence that he was on suspended for. And in my opinion, mate, I honestly believe that a good barrister would be able to pick the bones out of that and get him out on those grounds.
Was there not also something to do with he didn't watch the whole video, did he?
No, that's the point. So where is the proof? Where's the burden of proof here? Right? The burden of proof is on them to prove that he was on suspicion of causing a breach of the peace. I've never heard of that before. I've only ever heard of people being arrested for breach of the peace. I've never, ever heard. It's the first time I've ever heard anyone being arrested for suspicion of breach of the peace. It's unheard of, in my opinion. I've never heard of it. Never. So, it stinks to high heaven. But at the end of the day, look, I will say this, and I will say it again, Ollie, if he was better advised, he wouldn't have been there in the first place. It's as simple as that. And it's a pity, and I know what you're saying about rebel media. Now they're putting this information out, which is good. But if they'd have known what was going on in the first place, then why didn't they tip Tommy Robinson up and say, look, don't go down there because you're playing into their bloody hands?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to bring a few people in here. We got a few folks with us. God bless them. Before I ask them to join in, I'm going to just take a few comments. And so let's have a look. Thomas White says, "Free Tommy Robinson. This needs an urgent appeal because the judge has disqualified himself by being a witness as he stared through the window and directed the police. So he's witnessed any purported breach of the peace."
It's a good point. It's a good point. That goes back to what we were saying. How much of the video did he watch? It said that he admitted to only watching a very small part of it. Well, that ain't proof, surely. Is it?
Anybody would think the judge was biased or something.
Well, yes. Well, I suppose that could be, couldn't it?
I just had visions when I saw that picture of him. I put it on my timeline. A lot of you saw it. About 100 of you have liked that picture, just on my timeline, let alone elsewhere. I imagine, I was just thinking of him, like looking out that window there on his phone. I thought he's calling up Sadvi Javid or whatever his name is, isn't he? He's probably calling up the Home Secretary. Yeah. Well, what did I do with this? Nick him. This is it. This is the opportunity. Nick him. Let's see what happens. See if he gets knocked off inside.
That judge wouldn't have been privy to all of Tommy's history anyway. So somebody must have informed him of that, or he must have rang up somebody before. I don't know what it is and how they do it. But maybe that judge found out by making a phone call that there is something outstanding on Tommy Robinson. So he looked out the window, had a look. That was enough for him. That was his proof. And then he just turned around and said, well, that's contempt of court. He's on a suspended because he's found out through the court system. Yeah. Because, no judge can. I wouldn't have thought no judge. Well, he wouldn't have necessarily known. That's my opinion. He would not necessarily have known. Because it's Leeds, don't forget. Mm-hmm. Right? Yes. It's not down in London. Yeah. So he would maybe have made a phone call to the court system in London to find out whether there was anything outstanding on Tommy Robinson. Do you see what I mean? Because he wouldn't possibly have known, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, no, completely. That is an incredible image, isn't it? It's quite an iconic image.
Well, there's a slight conspiracy, if you like, because, to make... Why was the judge making himself aware of something which wasn't any bearing on suspicion of breach of the peace?
Very odd. It's very, very odd. If anybody knows any lawyers or barristers who kind of specialize in this area of the law, I guess contempt of court. But actually, it wasn't contempt of court. Was it contempt? Well, anyway, if anybody does and they want to come on and discuss this and take us through some of the legal minutiae, the legalese, and then that would be cool. Yvonne Tierney, Thomas, this is what we are up against. There are so many people that have not got a clue. And Thomas White reports, so easy. The judge cannot witness a case and try it. Charlotte Jameson, holy cow, Tommy! Scary. John Middleton, face yawn. John Middleton, preamble and articles of convention, UN Declaration of Human Rights. Awake says, well said, Stephen Lang. Christine Ford, God bless you. There is a plan. They would like a riot. This is what a lot of people are worried about. And we're addressing this a lot on this show now, is to keep counting to 10 people. We are a little bit buggered if we do and buggered if we don't. Are we not, Stephen?
Well, we are, because the thing is, a lot of people will turn around and say, you know, there are the more so the hardline conspiracy theorists out there that would insist that this government are pushing us in that direction to do just that.
Yes.
But that doesn't really do anything. I honestly believe the government are not pushing us in that direction deliberately. I think they do it because of their own naivety and into how the real feel of the British public. And I think that proved the other day when Tommy Robinson was arrested, and because of these bloody D notices, nobody knows the real truth. It's kept from us. So then you get these knee-jerk reactions with people. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Ollie, I think it's a good thing overall. It's just a shame that a man has to now be incarcerated, and obviously his life could be at risk. We don't know. For this sort of thing to happen. It should have happened before, in my opinion. But we've got to do this in millions. If you get 1 million people on the streets, listen, let's not forget.
How many did we have? How many did we have for Iraq, marching against Iraq? And they completely ignored us, as the baronet mentioned on the show yesterday. Sir William Jaffrey, Democracy 17.4. Check that out. And check out the show. What he wants to do is to replace all those traitors in Westminster who've been parachuted in by the likes of the David Morons and the Tony bloody Miranda bloody Blair, and replace them with independents. Replace them with people that instead of being loyal to a party bloody whip, are loyal to their constituents. I see. My God, that's a good idea. Is that an exciting idea, Stephen?
I don't know, mate. All I can say is, you know, it's. I think there is a conspiracy in this country. I think it's a massive conspiracy. I think we're being forcibly made to accept something which is totally abhorrent to this country. I don't think at the end of the day it fits. I'm sorry, but as far as I'm concerned, I've always believed that multiculturalism is a failed experiment.
Are you talking about making women walk around in portaloos and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
What is the point in having CCTV when you got people covered from head to foot?
Yeah,
you know, there is so much nonsense that has gone on out there, and for someone, you know, to have to look, there's always a fall guy. Let me explain something as well, Ollie. I don't honestly believe, you know, doing it the peaceful way, and I'm not advocating anything other than that. I will say this, but these people are not just going to roll over and give us what they want, and people need to get this into their heads. Yeah. They have took 400 years to build up what they're doing now, almost, and they're not just going to roll over, mate. Wow. You know, there's going to come a time when I've got to tell you this, and as far as I'm concerned, that no loss, no harm, no injury is going to become null and void, right? The only way this government will give up Tommy Robinson and let him out is if somebody is the fall guy. That judge must become the fall guy. You need to dig up stuff on him and find out where he's wrong. And somebody who is a good barrister out there, and I mean a good one, with some balls, it has to be said, because let's not forget these people work for the system. They don't work for us. Okay? They just make it look like they do.
I want to ask you about that 400 years and basically the base of that in just a second. But we just one sec. We've got I'm going to cut Facebook off, and I'm going to cut you, bloody PWN. You've been pawned. You've been owned. I'm going to cut you off. Everybody go to DLive if you want to see this show. And I'm going to tell you why now. There's a few reasons. First of all, I am sick to the back teeth of begging for money. Because I don't want your bloody money. Of course I need to live. Guess what? Got to pay the bloody mortgage. I got to keep my end up. But I don't want to be begging. And I'm fed up with it. And I seem to have a cunning plan. And if you got a DLive, if you're producing content on DLive, guys, then you have an opportunity to make some money just because of, on the basis of whether or not your content is worth watching. And our content is! We have to get the message out, and we can get people. It's easy to go there. Unfortunately, to comment, you have to log in. You have to register and whatnot to that. But to watch the show, you don't. Just go to guv.li/chaos, and I am going to cut the stream off in about 10 seconds on Facebook and on whatnot. Gotta get people out there. Cannot be supporting fascism, people. And Mark Zuckerberg is a fascist. Okay, I shall see you tomorrow at 7 if you don't want to join us on DLive. And if you do, well, I hope you do. God bless you. I hope you do. Please come and join us on DLive. And by the way, a lot of people here are. 99 Facebook and whatnot. You don't know what you're missing. We're about to have a laugh over here. Ciao. Is that cool?